What is going on, everybody in the chat? Welcome to the first edition of the Standing on Business FT COD League podcast. My name is Villain. I'm the head admin of the FT League, and I am joined by the two-time FT League champ, the one and only Smiles Austin Belcher. Austin, how are we doing today?
Yeah, we're feeling good, feeling great. Excited for the pod, starting a new thing here this season. I'm excited for it. And yeah, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here and to be, alongside the best admin in the FT League.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we're not going to waste any time as we have two matches starting in about an hour and 15 minutes. We're going to get right into what we're going to talk about today. We're going to do a little recap of the first week of the matches. We're going to go into some power rankings, and we got a lot more to talk about than that. But first off, we're getting to the standings. Everybody has played a match. Some teams have played more than others, but just looking at the standings, we got the Gizmos Good Boys 100% map win in first place in the blue division, and we have the Gorillas 1-0 with a 75% map win in the black division in the lead. Smiles, what do you think about that?
I mean, Gizmos, they're proving the haters wrong, starting off with a hot 3-0 to start the split. And then the Gorillas as well, taking the Hollow Knights in four. Their first series. Crowder looked really good in that series as well. Some surprises here in the standings. Is what we'll kind of tune into that here on the next slide. I mean, my Slim Reaper starting 0-2 wasn't something on my bingo card to start this off, but it's early on. Majority of teams only played one match. Sorry, only what one, two, four teams played two. So um, or was it only three? One, two. Yeah, so they have four teams, sorry, playing two matches in week one. So, I mean, early on, it's hard to take away a lot from just one week as, teams are still getting used to playing with each other and maybe some guys had harder matchups first to start off with. So, don't want to take too much away from week one, but definitely some shocks, surprises, and whatnot into week one.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I got to cast a couple of these matches, and I was kind of surprised by some of the results as well. I mean, like you said, tough Grim Reaper start 0-2. It was a close match with the Widowmakers as well, going 0-1. I feel like they maybe could have came away with that. But yeah, we're gonna move right into more of the specific recaps and start off with the first match of the major, the Fab Four versus the Bloodline. This one was a banger first match start, going all the way to map five. Smiles, what did you get to catch this one?
I did. Give me 1 second. Stream's buffering. Didn't show me you went to the next slide, but here I got it on my phone. It's fine. We're working on the fly here. PC decided to take a dump here not too long ago. But yeah, first match. I actually got the. Did I cast this one? No, I did not. Fab Four versus Bloodline was a good series. To be honest with you, the Bloodline team that I had towards the bottom end of mine, they were able to come out, win two S&Ds, and steal map four hardpoint, and a pretty nice series there against the Fabulous Four there. And looking to the man on the right, I mean, series MVP, CEO Novo, just absolutely balling. 1.14, and take away Bracky. I mean, a 1.43 for this series as well. I mean, the Bloodline just a well-rounded team. I mean, look at the stats. I mean, Carnivores, you hope that he can, eventually pick it up. And then really looking on the other side of the Fab Four, they played their first match, and we'll get into that here in a minute. But I mean, G2, Kepso, Juicy, and Swizz all over a 1.0 KD, not able to really close it out. So to me, on paper, it looks like the Fab Four, possibly should have won this series, but it was the Bloodline better in the S&Ds that were able to take it away.
Yeah, I honestly agree with you. I thought Bloodline, they had a chance to maybe put it away sooner. That overload was really close. They just narrowly avoided the comeback. But they clutched up in the S&D right behind a great performance by CEO Novo. So, that's why he got the series MVP. And Fab Four, unfortunate. I think they might have played another match before this, which was this one. Forget
They
which
did, yes,
order
sir.
they.
They played against who do they play? Hollow Knights. They played K9 in their warm up series, and just absolutely beat the brakes off of them. I'm curious on where that's at. I'm sure that's towards the back end of the recaps. But yeah, they started off hot and maybe ran out a little steam. No,
Yeah,
you're right. They played the Widowmakers. I'm so sorry.
no, it's okay. There are a lot of matches. Already 9 of our 20 matches for the major completed before in this first week, so a lot to remember. But yeah, no, they pretty
Played the
handily avoided the comeback here against the Widowmakers right before uh, went up
Yeah, they
2-0.
played. So they did start off against the Widowmakers. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. The stream's not loading on on my Mac, so I'm having to go off my phone. But yeah, this was actually our first match, the kickoff here. Fab Four versus the Widowmakers. The Widowmakers, a team I had up there, the power rankings. They were my preseason number two. Um, they looked really good on exposure, struggled on the other maps. I mean, you lose a 6-5 round 11 map too, that kind of thing. So a winnable series for the Widowmakers. I mentioned it before in the Fab Four's first series, sorry, against the Bloodline. 3 players over 1.0 KD. You see that here again. You got Grant, your series MVP 1.17. Kev so icy a 1.06, and then Swizz, your quote unquote tier four. A lot of people sleeping on him with a 1.03. He said he's got a lot to prove. And then go look at the other side. I mean, these are two really good teams. I mean, Will 1.26, Truck and Sketchy both over a 1, and Janzi rounding out with a point 0.8. So this was to me, a really good series to watch and a really good series to cast. The exposure or Overload Game 3 exposure was probably one of the funnest series I've ever had casting in my time. But this was a true, team win for the Fab Four, getting off to that 2-0 start, being able to stop the comeback there on raid, put it away, and then able to clutch up in the S&D. So, I mean, as we've seen so far, it's the guys that are able to win the S&Ds are really winning the series, and that might be the difference, early on in the split.
Yeah, and something you mentioned that I immediately noticed as well, 3 players over 1 KD. I don't feel like you see that a lot in some of these matchups. I feel like you usually see like one player going like 1.4, 1.5, another one like close to 1, and then maybe like a point 0.8, a point 0.6. So both these teams pretty evenly matched, and you could see that as it ended up going to map 5. And I mean, there wasn't really a map that was like a blowout in any means, like the 6-3 in the end, like the hard point that Widowmakers won. They won by like almost 100, but even still, like I remember one of those hard points I was watching, like up, I think it was up until like the third set of hills, like there was just even, like one team was going up 20, and then the other team was getting that 20 right back. So,
Yeah, that
um,
was dead map one. It was a
yeah,
back and forth. It was a really good map. I mean, winnable map for the Widowmakers, but like I said, Fab Four, they were the right team for the job. Against the Fabulous Four to start the series off or to start the year off.
I completely agree. Well, let's go into another match here, see what's next on our slides. We got the Gorillas versus the Hollow Knights, and this one was pretty one-sided. The Den originally, we had a map reset on that one, so they were about 150, 150, and before we had a lag out and they had to restart. And after that point, the Gorillas just came out and took care of business there. Hollow Knights did end up clutching that round 11 S&D in the middle, but it kind of really just delayed the inevitable. I felt like
Right.
the Gorillas, you can see it on the left side here. Crowd at a 1.64. You'll see later that he's leading the league right now in KD. Melt 1.01 matching with Kraken, who also had a 1.01. And then Frog Dog, the series MVP with a .96, absolutely came out to fry in his first match of the year.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, you love to see that out of the dog. Like you said, when your tier four is almost putting up a 1.0 KD, I mean, the fries are in the bag. Your team's probably winning the series if you're tier four, quote unquote no tiers, but your last pick in the draft dropping almost a 1.0 KD, fries are in the bag at that point. And then really looking at Flicks Carson, I mean, back in the league, his first appearance since his major three departure last year. Teaming up with Magic there, and then two new guys in the lead, Vonsky and Ghostly. Uh, I wanted to touch on a little bit. Looking at it now, I mean, Magic, pretty slow start for him. Magic last year, he was a hot commodity when we were picking. I remember wanting to get him a couple times, and he was always picked a guy or two before I went again. But a 0.82 out of Magic, eventually you hope to see him pick that up. And then, Vonsky and Ghostly, I'm sure we're going to see them improve over the split. I mean, I know this is competitive COD, but a little bit of a different kind of type of competitive COD. Sorry, you have kind of players of all types of quote unquote tiers. As I'll keep mentioning that here and there. So they'll adjust, they'll get better as time goes on. But yeah, I mean, Crowder and Co. I mean, you got four players basically. 1.0 KD. I mean, that's just straight built ass.
Yeah, it really is, and it's hard for a team like Hollow Knights who kind of saw it already a little bit with the Bloodline, uh, as captains and being a league where you draft the players you have, and you might have some new guys where you don't really know how they're gonna do. Kind of have to take that gamble sometimes, and Flicks took a gamble with Vonsky and Ghostly Royale, and unfortunately in this first series it didn't really work out as well as some of the other captains' gambles. But that's a part of the process, and I think they'll both improve as these matches go along. We'll have to see tonight as they have a doubleheader, so we'll have to see if they've improved at all as they face on some of the other teams here. And uh, yeah, no, I think the Hollow
Yeah,
Knights will
we'll
improve.
expect growth and growing pains out of some of the new players. And like you said, you take risk, and that's probably one of my favorite things about playing in this league, playing with different people over and over again. I know I've had a couple of reoccurring teammates here and there, but that's one of my favorite things about this league, playing with new people. So yeah, you never know, things can turn around, and Hollow Knights can eventually come major time. Pool play matches matter, don't really matter. Everybody has their opinion, but maybe they're just getting stuff ready for the major.
Yeah, definitely. Um, Moving on to our next matchup here is the start of our quadruple header the other night on Sunday. It's the Masturbators taking on the Canines, and this one was close, but
This
not
shit
really
was
that
this shit was
close.
this shit was quick. The shit was over with the swiftness. I'll tell you that much. I mean, you see it, series MVP. I mean, dropping a 1.44, and then you got my favorite player to team with in the league, Hoffy, 1.39. Guy brings the vibes. He's helping Yerm, kind of lead the team in Yerm's first appearance here in the FT League. And yet again, you got Hill, great numbers, and then Big Tank, the world champ, putting up good numbers there as well. I mean, this was a great team win. This was the match I casted on the quadruple header, and the map won Scar a 10-point game, but I felt like it probably should have been like 100-point clubs. I mean, everybody on the Masturbators just completely popped off and fried, and everybody on the K9 besides Isaac was putting up a fight. Um, yeah, Mike Desi, I'm gonna touch on it. 0.74, top five Mike. I mean, I think he had a pretty better series. His second match against the Grim Reapers in the series that they were able to win, but yeah, I don't think you're gonna win. K9s are gonna win if Mike's putting up those numbers.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, and it's also hard for the Canines to win when the debut captain on the other side is dropping a 1.44. I mean, we talk about new players in the last little bit, but you know, a guy you haven't shot against much is decorated players in the league come out and got to deal with a guy who's shooting like that. It's pretty difficult, and although it did get better throughout, I mean, Desi had the unfortunate start in that first hard point, and then the unfortunate 0-6 in that S&D. It's kind of hard to come back from that as a team.
Yerm's definitely one of the most handsome men in the league. No, no homo. I agree with that completely.
Well, we had a
But
lot
yeah,
of
no, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no,
Just
you're
was reading
good.
the chat.
Yeah, no. Read that chat because I appreciate everybody in the chat coming out for our first episode as we getting through some of the recaps here. We're gonna move to the next one pretty quickly as we stick with the masturbators. This was the last match of the quadruple header. This was the end of it, but banger matchup in my opinion. The Goon Squad making their debut. Masturbators. They did have to wait like 2 or 3 hours to play this match, so maybe they were a little bit iced at the start, but they came back and made it interesting, taking it all the way to a map 5 at round 10. But the the Brothers of Destruction with Revo out of the SOB camp came to play and played pretty well at that.
Yeah, I mean the brotherly destruction, but it's really like I said, I mentioned it before. When your last pick of the drafts, putting up a 1.0 KD, life's gonna be nice. So I mean, it was really Nick Revo and Lonely. Paul was just along for the ride. The CEO himself. I mean, 0.75. I mean, we talk about Mike, but that's a stinker right there as well. Out of Paul himself. And then yeah, like you said, masturbators go down 0-2. Everybody was in for the reverse sweep, not able to pull it off on raid. Nick hit some nasty snipes there on that map to really help dominate the map, take out some. I think he killed Hoffy or Urim once or twice with the sniper on like a wall bounce. So big kills out of Nick there. Um, but in the look at Nick 1.22 or I'm sorry 1.58, 1.06 out of Revo and a 1.04 out of Lonely. I mean, you're getting that stat line out of three guys. I mean, you should be able to win it. So closer than I expected, especially when you look at the other side. Yerman Hoff 1.22s, and then Hill and Tank under point 0.8s, almost a point 0.5 for Big Tank. So yet again, a new guy in the league, a rookie as a team cap, really leading the team. I know Hoffy's really helping him out there in that aspect of things. Um, but yeah, I mean, Masturbators is it's a loss, but it's not a terrible loss.
Yeah, not at all. And I mean, when you have a guy like Lonely, who kind of been a theme of what I've talked about so far in this pod, a new guy dropping a 1.04, like there were some maps where like just watching it through, like where his performance and ability to like get those kills when he needed to, like really like kept them in control. And I think that helped push the Goon Squad over the edge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, going on to this next match. This was the second match of our quadruple header on Sunday. Another map 5 bang out. We got the Grim Reapers versus the K9s, and this was kind of interesting because Grim Reapers one of those teams coming out of the draft that was looked pretty highly regarded, and they just were barely able to not come away with that win, and K9s just got 3-0'd right before that.
Yeah. Yet again, I think some growing pains. Within the team. I mean, I've been in the shoes before a little bit. Coming off a hot year, going into the next game, not being fully confident in the game, and I'll touch on it a little bit, but I'm not. I'll only bring down one guy in this thing, and that's Mike. Truthfully, but Chop. I mean, not playing the best. As an early pick, top 5 pick. So eventually, you hope to see him get comfortable, kind of figure out his own, pace, his footing, and get comfortable on the map and on the team in general. And I think with his performances goes up, you'll see, you know, this team really play really well. I mean, you got Droopy, and I'm gonna botch his name, so I'm not even trying it. But he dropped, two basically
Prolifics.
point nines. Yeah, prolifics. Sorry, it looked really small on my MacBook. But I mean, yeah, 2.9s out of your third and fourth pick, and then Chop. 0.94 is not a horrible series, but not numbers you want to see out of him. And that was kind of the his numbers throughout the entire week one. And then on the flip side, I mentioned it. Isaac, your MVP for the series, 1.33. I mean, I guess you can say he played okay. It is what it is. Isaac, just running around getting useless kills. And then Mike, really my MVP for this series is Mike, just because he goes from a point 0.7 to a 1.0, and this team wins the series. So like I said, you're not going to win with Mike dropping a point 0.7. He has a better series here, 1.01, and Cloudsy Too Sweet. Yet again, those are good series out of your third and fourth pick. So um, definitely better team play and all around just performance out of K9s. I was able to help them kind of really claw and fight and win. Really, every map here was close. So besides the map 2 S&D, so it's a really good series out of the K9s, out of the boys over there in that camp.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you mentioned it earlier how a lot of these teams are kind of winning the S&Ds and winning the series, and that was really the case in this one. That raid, wasn't really close, and that exposure started off. It was like a 5-1, I want to say, before the Grim
Yeah, this
Reapers
could
were
be a
able to
name.
get a couple rounds there. And I know Too Sweet in that S&D at the end, he was like, uh, I don't know, yeah, it was doing really well. So when you have like your fourth pick, your tier four, kind of leading the way in a clutch situation, that helps a lot. It's kind of similar to the Goon Squad. Parker was popping off in that raid S&D at the end, so love to see that out of those guys. And in this one specifically, like you got players like Scrape and Droopy who you kind of expect to maybe do a little bit more, or kind of just maybe uh, just barely, you know, not meeting the mark, and Grim Reapers ended up not coming out with the win there. I mean, that den was really close. I casted this one. Both the dens were
Yeah,
super close, and that Colossus was a bang out as well. So it really could have went either way.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I expect this team, like I said earlier, once Chop finds his footing, gets comfortable, I'm sure this team will start winning some series and probably be that, possible dominant force that a lot of us expected after the draft. And K9's, getting lucky with a win there in this series.
Yeah, I mean they did scrape away with it, but I think they did really
No
come
pun
out to play
intended.
towards the end. Yeah, scrape away with it. That was a good one. Um,
But yeah, no, they played good. I mean, this was a big bounce back for them. I mean, after watching that first match, I mean, you really thought Canines were in trouble. I did as well. I was like, Mike's 30 years old. He might, the age might be getting to him. But he was able to come back and have a decent series.
yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think we got another Grim Reapers match here from that quadruple header. This was the third out of four. This is the last one we're going to talk about in our little recap
God
section.
damn!
Yeah, the Gizmos Good Boys came out to play. I incorrectly said earlier that Crowder had the KD lead. It was actually Poison here with the 1.69. Nice. Um, coming
Look
out
at that good
here.
boy.
And yeah, no, absolutely frying. And J Wall with a 1.36 right behind him. He didn't get to play in champs last year. He feels like he has something
Yeah,
to prove.
yeah,
And
he gets no gas out of me.
yeah, no, yeah, understandable. And then Coney, he returning after a few majors off and 0.98 right where you need him to be. And yeah, Grim Reapers kind of, I think they had the wind taken out of their sails after losing a close one to the Canines, where they maybe feel like they should have won, and Canines took
Yeah,
it away. And
I want to touch on something. Cooper had 45 deaths in 3 maps. This is Isaac in chat. Cooper played a whole series, died 45 times. Mike played 1 HP and had 43 deaths. That's a crazy stat line.
that is a
I didn't mean to
crazy
cut.
stat line.
I
No,
didn't
that
mean
is
to
okay.
cut you off though. But I mean, yeah, Cooper. He's a dominant force in the league. I mean, he's played against him in a couple finals before, and in the tournaments, it's always a fun matchup with Coop. He's a phenomenal player. To me, I've always looked at him as the best player in the league. What he's able to bring to a team, I mean, it's almost unmatchable to be honest with you. I mean, he's playing with guys that truthfully are been on teams in the past that have lost early on and haven't really had success due to, I would say character issues. And they're able to come out and play a team that, a lot of people expected to be on the upper echelon of this league and just absolutely just beat the brakes off of them. I mean, I'll touch on it. Chop 0.71, really your underlying performance there. I mean, but
Yeah,
Droopy and Co. I mean, they really played fine. It's really up to Chop to get comfortable at the game and kind of find his footing. But yet again, I've been there before, but I feel like once he's able to do that, this team should be fine. And then I'll give it a little bit of gas to J. Well, I mean, 1.36. That's a great series out of him. Coney, 1.0 KD numbers we're typically seeing out of him, and then Han a point 0.6. You know, it's it was a surprising series to say the least. I'll be honest. I didn't have this on my bingo card.
yeah, I didn't either. And you brought up what I was gonna bring up is that scrape 7.1. I mean, I this is a theory out of me, but I wonder if by the end of this major that these teams maybe flip because it seems like Scrape, our boy Chop, might need a little bit more time to kind of just get used to the game and get the reps under his feet. But I think the biggest question mark about the Gizmos Good Boys is going to be that composure, especially as it get tough throughout throughout all the qualification matches in the bracket, and if they can keep their heads level as a unit. And I'm interested to see if these teams end up in the same spot that they are right now
Yeah,
because
I yet again I agree with that completely. You know, league matches they matter, pool play matches they matter to a certain extent, but the teams that win on Saturday, the team that win on Sundays are the teams that can have the most composure. And this gives them a good boys team. Yeah, everything's great and all and fine and dandy when they're winning. What's going to happen when this team starts losing? The J-Walk coding arguments, Han getting there screaming. So I can agree with that completely. I wouldn't be surprised come major time if these teams are able to flip. Maybe not a 3-0, but, with a grim one in the series.
definitely. Moving on, we're gonna get into the Smiles Power Rankings Week 2 edition. So I'm gonna let you take this one away, Smiles. Talk to us about some of these results. I got the movement on the right here, and we got our big drops here highlighted in red.
Yeah, we got some big droppers. Hollow Knights. We talked on it a little bit. Took a risk on some players. Magic not playing that great. They were sitting, towards the bottom at 7, but after seeing that kind of first match against a team that I don't think's really that good in the Bloodline, I gotta drop them to dead last. Grim Reapers going from 1 to 9, 0-2 start, and really getting belt to ass in a series. You're gonna drop all the way towards the bottom end for me. K9, they were sitting there dead last for me. They go 1-1 week 1. They go up a couple spots just due to the fact that they were able to beat a team that that I got right under them. So, and then yeah, the Widowmakers. This hurts putting these cats at 7. They dropped from 2 to 7. They played one match, lost in the game 5. But I'm gonna give the guys that won and the guys that were able to win week 1. I'm going based off current records and performances out of the team. Maybe a little bit to do with potential as well here and there. And then Bloodline 1-0 in their first match, winning a game 5, so they'll jump up some spots. Gizmo, I'm keeping them at 5. They were sitting there at number 8. They do jump up 3 spots for winning 3-0, but yet again, they beat a team that struggling towards the bottom end, and I'm not completely sold um, on them as well. And then we'll jump over to the Masturbators, who are gonna jump up, or I'm sorry, they're gonna jump down a spot here in the rankings. Give me a second. Eh. Masturbators are gonna drop 1. Let's see if shit'll load here. So everything's just off the top of my head currently as we speak. Let's see what they
Yeah,
did. They lost. Masturbators went 1-1. I can't remember who they beat and who they split. Masturbators. No,
they
we're good.
they beat the
Masturbators. That's
Canines
Yerm's
and
team.
lost to the Goon
Yeah, that's
Squad.
Yerm's team. Yeah, my apologies. I'm doing everything off the top of my head. Um, it's the struggles of being on the MacBook with the PC being fried. Apologies. Yeah, Masturbators are gonna drop a spot going 1-1. Um, they beat a pretty shit team in the Canines, and then they lost later in the day. They look good, a lot of potential, but they're gonna drop a spot there. The Fab Four, they just had a really good series, a dominant series. To be truthful with you, that's why you're gonna see them kind of really make that jump, um, up 3 spots from 6 to to spot number 3. I really hate that I don't have 2 monitors. I'm actually getting pissed off. So I'm trying to stay composed as I'm pulling stuff up just to go off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean Goon Squad at number 1. I could see why after their dominant performance that they jumped up that high. Um, it was a map 5, but with Nick playing like that and Revo playing like that, they look pretty good. So if Parker can heat up after a few more
Oh yeah,
matches under his belt too, like
100%.
they're going to be a pretty hard team to beat, especially if Lonely keeps shooting
Right,
like
yeah,
that as well.
right. You're not wrong, and yeah, I'm sorry. I'm getting caught up on on everything. So yeah, so the Fab Four, they'd go 1-1. They lose that map 5, but that team looked better to me than what they thought, and then or than what I thought coming into it. But Kev's so juicy. I mean, he's really coming out as a really elite player. And then the Gorillas, that's the Gorillas. The Gorillas coming off playing against the Hollow Knights. That was a series where they all played really well. So I'm sorry, I got teams confused there. And then the Goon Squad jumping up 4 spots. Um, Yet again, tier 4 performances up there, dropping a 1.0 there. I mean, that's a pretty dominant team. It was a map 5. So, the Nick Paul duo hasn't worked out in the past. So, Nick's, doing it again, seeing if it'll work. So, but we're going off the, I see some crazy reactions in the chat. I'm going off of, who deserves the spots, not what potential, this, that, and the other. That those are my power rankings. Mike Goon at 1 is fucking nuts. You're lucky you're not at number 10, buddy. Be lucky you dropped a .7 in a series.
Yeah,
So yeah,
no,
no, Goon
it's
Squad definitely deserves it. I mean, you have 3. Mike, a guy that got picked the fucking last has a higher KD than you.
Oh, yeah, no, it's pretty close. Only 1 week down. We got a lot of matches to go, so we'll see. There might be some pretty big movement on the next one as well. Um,
Yeah, hopefully the canines fall down 2 more spots. Make my day. I hate those cats.
yeah. But moving on, a topic we kind of talked about already, but we'll stop on this slide anyway. Are the Grim Reapers in trouble? They were the preseason favorite. Started off at number one. They were 0-2 in this first week. Should they hit the panic button and check out, or do you think they're gonna rebound here?
No panic button yet. It's week one. It's early. Depending on the week two they have, that's when I would hit the panic button if I was them. That's when I'd be hitting the canines up, looking to trade the future, trade the house away. Um, just tank for the year. I'm just playing, but no, I would wait till week two. Truthfully, I mean, depends on your week two performances. Like I said, it relies all on Chop and not putting the pressure on him. Obviously, we've seen him play in a couple tournament finals, won a couple tournaments. I've teamed with him in the past. I mean, he's once he knows, what he wants to do on the map and what he's comfortable at doing and can just play his game. I think that team will be fine. But it's a big if because I've been there before last year, and it was me, Nick, and Kyle, and we might have been one of the worst teams that have ever touched the FT league. And naming that three in a trio, putting them at towards the bottom of teams that have ever been in the league, is crazy to me. So I wouldn't panic yet, but I'd be like Zach Taylor. The seat's getting a little hot.
Yeah, no, I agree. Honestly, it is pretty early. They have two matches left in pools, and I feel like I've seen a lot of teams, especially last season, where they might have had a iffy qualifying period, and then they get to the bracket and they pull out some upsets and they make a little bit of a run, and
Yep.
couple gunfights go one way, maybe they go even further, but who knows?
I I wanted to say one thing. I'm very unsure. Paul or Nick might be able to fact check me in chat. I don't think a team that has finished the split number one or number two have ever won the tournament. It's always the three, four, or five team that ends up winning it.
Yeah, I mean,
Last year, not a single team that placed first or second in their division won it. I could be mistaken. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty positive that wide receivers, no, they were two. We finished above them. We beat them in pools. The only
yeah,
team I can think of is Cooper's team.
yeah.
Cooper and
Well,
Bracky. That might be the only team that finished first and their
they
pools or were the number one overall pick that won the whole thing. That might be the only
they
team, and that
tied
team was used.
with Jason's team, Matrix, that split because we had split divisions, and I think they were both like 1 and 2 seed, 4-0. But
You're right, but I think the Four Swords never won the tournament.
yeah,
Crump,
no, they
G2,
didn't win the tournament.
Revo.
Oh yeah, well that was the G2 Crump version of Four Swords. You're right. I'm thinking of Major Five Four Swords.
I was thinking of Bracky scammed. No, Four Sword was one. I don't know, but I'm just saying it's not very common that every team that's number one after pools wins a tournament. So,
Yeah,
like you said, pools they matter, but they really don't.
yeah, it's a good time to like test and see what your team's good at and kind of get your map pool down. And you know it's not always important to go 4-0 in pool play when we got the bracket on January 3rd and 4th. Cheap plug for Major One. Um, but yeah, moving on to our next topic, we have a pretty important and controversial discussion to be had.
Absolutely.
Should players be able to switch from console to PC mid-split?
No,
This has been
absolutely not.
a pretty highly debated topic amongst FT circles throughout the week. A player of the Widowmakers, Janzi, is wanting to switch from his PS5 to his PC. Previous console players have done it in past majors last year, but many people ask, is the jump so significant that if he would have started on PC, would it have changed his draft stock? Does it bring him to a more level playing field with everybody else? Should this be against the rules? Should this be a punishment? Love to see what chat thinks, and I'd love to hear what you think.
Yeah, so I got mixed feelings about this, truthfully. I mean, I personally, I did speak to Janzi, and he said, like, hey, I'm just playing. He got caught on PlayStation just to play with some buddies and have fun. He really didn't want to play competitive. And then, last minute, I guess, they talked him into it. He switched and said he was just playing for fun. But typically that never goes over well, right? Because, this is a competitive league, so everybody wants to win. And, when you're losing, you're like, okay, well, why am I losing? And obviously playing at a PS5 versus PC is a disadvantage. So I'm like against the Switch, but then also they allowed at Champs Finals last year,
Hmm.
allowed Droopy to go play on Coney's PC. Um, in the finals. Did it matter? No. Cat still lost. But I think it does change a player. I think it does. I think it, makes him a little bit better, not that much better. Um, I'm honestly, I'm getting a controversy. I'm getting in it. Um, I'm reading a little bit of the chat here and there. But yeah, no, it's just, I don't know, because I'm against it. Because Melt Jack, he's a tier one player. We know he was a top five cap two or three times last year, and then he's
Mm-hmm.
playing on a PS5 currently because of the room in his new house isn't done, so he doesn't have his PC set up. But like somebody like that making a jump versus a lower end pick making a jump is two completely different things. So I think the precedent probably should be set in stone that players are unable to switch during a major. Um,
Yeah,
Even
because
though they allowed it last year at champs with kind of really no discussion, we were kind of upset about it, but it is what it is because I think it does change a player's draft stock, and then there are some guys that didn't draft him because he's Jack for instance Melt because he's West Coast and then playing on a console. So some people stayed away from picking him. Now, if he makes a switch to PC, I'm pretty sure he would have been picked earlier than what he was. So I would say, as much as I would love to make it fun and interesting and say let him play because I mean that's what they did to us last year. I would say no, he shouldn't be able to switch.
yeah, it's a conflicting topic for me, personally, as a console player myself. We did set the precedent of letting Droopy switch last year, and it's kind of hard to go back on that when we let somebody else switch at another time, no matter what the
one Hundred
circumstances
percent.
are. However, last season I played a lot of Black Ops 6 on my console at home, you know, playing on 60 ping, lagging, whatever, and
60
then
frames.
yeah, 60 frames locked on my Series S, and then going out to Cincy and playing in the FT LAN number 2 in the summer, I felt like a completely different player. When I can
Yeah.
overclock my controller and I'm playing on a
Right.
better monitor. And like obviously it's only going to make so much of a difference. It didn't turn me from being a tier 4 in our league to Shotzi or something, but it. I felt like I was on a more even playing field. So, you know, it's last year isn't this year, but you know what's happened in the past has happened in the past, and you can't entirely ignore that. So it's hard. I would say that I feel like mid split is kind of like the biggest thing for me. Like
Right.
this last line here, if a console player wants to buy a PC or get one for Christmas, is it up to us to tell them no? Um,
Yet again, the major's what, December 3rd, 4th. I
yeah,
think honestly, you tell the cat because I saw it in the chat. Kraken's dad buys him a PC. What do we say? No. Truthfully, I think in my being in the position last year and going into loading up Sunday chance finals and Droopy sitting at Coney setup playing on a PC when he's been frying on a console, it's like all right, you know what I mean? It kind of we were against it, so I mean I'm not a fan of it. I think it sets cheese in the league. I'm not a fan of cheese in the league. Um, I'm sure he may or may not be in the chat. I mentioned it earlier. Last year we had a certain people, tank their draft stock on purpose, um, to tip the scales in their favor. And to be truthful, we're all, friends here, but we all want to win. But I think, trying to win in scumbag fashion is just, I mean, what are we doing? So I'm completely against it. As much as, I would say let the boys play, let them do what they want. But to me, I think it changes too much.
yeah. I kind of agree with that. Like I feel like it was one thing if like someone gets a PC for Christmas or like it's like after the major and someone's like, all right, I'm gonna switch to PC for the next major, I'd feel a little bit
Time.
differently then.
Yeah,
Um,
Frog.
yeah, I was
I
gonna
don't
get
mean
to that
it's Frog.
next.
Hey, yeah, Frog. So what happens if a player's PC blows up and PS5's only option? We got to make some leak changes. Speaking of PCs blowing up, mine just took a fucking dump today when I got home from work. So, trust me, it's a very, very, very huge possibility. But if that's something that happens, that's just a complete, unfortunate situation because that's a downgrade, not an upgrade.
Yeah, and I almost feel like it's a little bit of a different situation, like if someone is like normally playing on computer and they like hit us up like right before the match and they're like, "Oh my gosh, like my PC just blew up and my only option is to play on this PS5 now." I don't think anybody's gonna like freak out, especially because it's like a
No,
downgrade.
hell no.
But at the
Yeah,
same
everybody would
time,
be
like it
excited.
it poses an important question though, like what are the limits to the switching if we do let switching happen? Like I saw some people go like, oh, I'm gonna play on a Switch like for the first match and then switch back to my PC and like let you draft me while I'm playing on a Switch. Like I like what kind of doors does it open up if we let
Right. I agree with that completely.
yeah. Um all right, so moving on to the next thing, we're gonna look at the current top six KDs in the league. Um,
Golly, who's like this? I might have to come back. JWall 1.36. What are we doing?
yeah, no, it's pretty close split. Um, Interesting to see people like Crata and Flix returning to the league and coming in and making that much of an impact. Bracky too, major champion last year. It's
Yeah,
pretty.
no, I mean, no, only one really big surprise here, and that's JWall. I mean, Cooper, Crota, Nick, Flicks, Bracky. I mean, those are all expected. Um, JWall really, he's playing with some passion, so you love to see that. I mean, there was a lot of arguments on him getting back in. I mean, he's left two majors in the past. He's quit on some teams in the past when they haven't been good. So yeah, it looks like he's on a team he enjoys playing on and is playing pretty well.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Um,
By the way, we let Nick slide in the draft for whatever reason. Nick should always have a top three pick.
yeah, no, it was
So I'll start
interesting.
that agenda.
Letting it. What was it? It was five that I think he got, like right in the middle.
Yep. Somehow a guy that picked number two all year last year comes into this year and he started the agendas. I'll tell you that much. If I was playing, that guy would have had the number two pick and I would have been picking behind him at three. Um,
And
but yeah, no.
interestingly enough,
He made the
Crata had the
draft, by
last
the
pick.
way. Yeah, Crowder having the last pick. I mean, I don't know. I think, maybe you can put Nick at three, but to me, Cooper's always one, Crowder's two, and then my top four players in the league are Poison, Crowder, Nick, and Grant. Like those are it. So I'm surprised to see no Grant here, but I mean I'm sure in a couple series that we'll see some guys change and some movement here.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Now this next slide I know is a topic that you're really gonna be excited to talk about. Smiles.
What do we got?
This is top
Oh
five
yeah,
Mike.
baby! Oh,
So
absolutely
pretty hot topic right
phenomenal.
now. Mike is third overall pick in the draft. Top five player. Wasn't he on your champs team? Did I mess that up in my head?
Yeah, no, Mike is a returning world champion. He was playing under the SOB banner. And golly, good thing he's not playing under it right now because the organization would be fuming. I mean, ah, wow. I mean, honestly, this is a guy that, I mean, after he won, he's really like Pred. I mean, he took a lot of
Hmm.
vacations, gambled a lot, went and celebrated, came back this year, and I guess he's still at Cabo because I mean, this guy played fucking horrible.
And I think it's an important point put in the chat. The question has to be asked: does Mike need Smiles to win?
I've always said this, man. I don't think he needs Smiles just to win because he's won with other tier ones in the past. But I've always said it to Mike because he always loves to talk. I said, you've never won a tournament being your best player. You've always had somebody, overperforming and really, putting on for the team. Mike's still a solid player in the league, but he's struggling as of right now. I mean, it's my guy, but I'm obviously, watching the series. I'm seeing this. I cast at one of them. He was 3-12 on map one hard point, and I didn't even notice it until that point. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is going to be a topic of conversation because I mean this might be the slide for the entire split unless this cat picks it up. I mean, Mike will be. This is going to be a segment. We're going to watch Mike's growth as the split goes on. But yeah, Mike, a guy that calls himself top five, a guy that thinks he's one of the higher players in the league. He was telling me before the draft that he might be a tier one captain, and then this is what I'm seeing. I mean, thank God he wasn't because that team would be balls. But yeah, Mike. I mean, are you in the chat, buddy? Where are you at?
Yeah, I don't know. Mike might be here right now, maybe to defend himself
Where
a
are you
little
at,
bit, but
Mike?
I was just looking at this. I think something that's interesting is that the hardpoint KD is the highest one because I feel like the big map that everybody's talking about, that 45 death map one hardpoint that he had the other day, um, like I figured that would make that much lower, and the
He
S&D
played really.
KD
He
would be a little
had
bit higher.
and the yeah he had a bad map one in that first series, but he had that really good map four against Grim Reapers where I think he dropped like 40 something. So it kind of evened itself back out. I think he almost went positive 15 or something like that, positive 10. So he was able to crawl his way back to positive. Oh, and I think we're gonna get a Mike Desi join in the call. Where are
Yeah,
you at?
yeah. As
So we
we
got our
try and get
first
him in here,
special.
because I was gonna let the chat know if you're a player and you're watching this and you would like to be a guest on one of our future episodes, reach out to your boy Whiskey and let me
Yeah,
know.
get in here.
All
Get
players
in
are
here.
welcome as guests, and yeah,
You
no,
better not be
get
disrespectful
get
though.
in here, Mike. Keep it family friendly to a degree.
First thing he's gonna say is, there we go."
Yeah. What's up, motherfuckers? Oh, yeah. Austin wants to run his mouth about only Mike, nobody else that's getting fucking
Hey,
horked on.
hey, so let's talk about it. So, like, what's going on?
What's going on? I got fucking, you know, yeah, well,
Language.
Sponsor friendly.
listen up.
Sponsor friendly.
Listen up. Also, I might be throwing myself under the bus here, but like, you're like, oh yeah, I'm surprised about that. Yeah, no, I might have dropped a .5 in a Den S&D, not Den S&D, then overload because I got fucking Musey fucking Killhorn the whole fucking map.
How many f bombs we dropping in one sentence? Jesus Christ.
Oh,
From New York. I don't know what else you want.
God bless the editor of
But
this podcast.
But yeah, I
but
just gotta ask, like, I mean, what steps are you taking to, get back to that form that we've seen you at in the past? I mean, last year, I mean, you've talked about it. You let him know, Cooper, he couldn't hold you at the end of last year. You've talked
uh,
about it. You're
look,
caught
look,
live. So
look,
like, what do you need to do? What steps are you taking in place, to make sure you get back to that kind of
you know,
level and really give Isaac some help because he needs it.
all I'm saying is we're trying to get a match against Gizmos. Like I said, we're trying to get a match in either on Wednesday or Thursday this week against Cooper's team. Might end up being tomorrow. We're waiting to hear back from them. We're gonna try to get it
But
in.
like, what are you doing to elevate your gameplay though? I don't care about what matches you
Uh,
got set. What are you doing in
uh,
place?
Listen up, bro. I
I
just
mean,
gotta
the
play Cooper.
K9s are spending really good money on you, and you're you're robbing them.
Well, the work schedule. I'm missing a lot of the eights, but we're just trying to get in the lab, play a little bit more, uh, trying to learn what maps I like to play. I don't know. We ran 3 ARs on Colossus and it worked. I'm not really too sure how.
Gotcha. So you're just not you're putting the performances on not being comfortable in the game.
Well, yeah, and I don't really know what gun I'm running on this team yet, so we got to sort that out.
Copy that. Like, hey man, like I said, I was able to carry. Well, I got one question for you. So did you know that Cooper died
Yeah, I
45
saw, I
times?
saw, I saw.
So how
I,
does
I,
that
ro-
make
I
you
rode
feel
all
that he
gas, no
died
brake.
more in a series than you did in a single map?
Hey, he had two more deaths in the whole series. Okay.
Right. You got to think maybe slow down. Get to a couple spots you like, or you just running.
Well, when I play him, I'm running his ass down. He ain't doing that to me. I promise you that.
All right, all right, all right. That sounds like a plan. Hey, I can't. Hopefully, I get the PC situation figured out because I'd love to cast that. I might have to go to the Lane household and cast your dog shit ass.
Yeah, well, hopefully, you know, we get a match in, maybe some scrims in, just get a little more comfortable with the team. But I'm sure we'll be fine once it actually matters. I'm not concerned.
All
I
righty,
know
we'd
I'll
love
be
to hear
good.
that out of bottom five, Mike. Everybody in the chat, thank Mike for stepping onto the show and answering the tough questions. As we see if Mike will make an appearance on the podcast next week as bottom five Mike. Thank you, Mike. We
Thank you,
appreciate you, kid.
Mike.
Yep, we'll be back as top five, Mike. Thank you.
All right, well, keep it a little short and sweet for this first debut episode of the Standing on Business podcast. Here in about 30 minutes, we have two matches coming up tonight. We got the Hollow Knights in a doubleheader. First started off against the Widowmakers, 0-1, looking to bounce back after their grueling loss in their first match, and then the second match is going to be against the Bloodline, who coming off a win, looking to do some more damage.
Absolutely. And I don't know, is there another slide here? Is this the last one?
This is the last slide, but before we get off here, how do you think these matches are going to go next?
Ooh, I had him on there. I don't think Paul edited it on. First match is Hollow Knights versus the Widowmakers. We got the Carson versus Will matchup, and I'm gonna be completely honest. I got the Widowmakers on a huge bounce back. Give me a 3-0. DoorDash.
Yeah, um, you said 3-0 Hollow Knights are going to win.
Widowmakers 3-0. Get them out
Widowmakers
of there.
3-0. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
Widowmakers bouncing
gonna
back.
I'm gonna go Widowmakers 3-1. I'm gonna give Hollow Knights that S&D again, but I think Widowmakers are gonna bounce back from their first loss.
Yeah, it's gonna be an entertaining series there, Carson versus Will. I'm excited for that. I'm pissed I can't cast, unfortunately.
And then what do you think about them versus the Bloodline? I think that's a lot more even of a matchup in a sense.
I'm gonna be honest. I was mean to the Hollow Knights in the first prediction. It doesn't get much better. I do got them taking an S&D in the second set against the Bloodline, but I got the Bloodline 3-1.
Bloodline 3-1.
Yeah, I got
Hmm.
the Hollow Knights stanking it up on the main stage.
You know what? I'm gonna throw a dart at the board, give the Hollow Knights a chance. I'm gonna say Hollow Knights 3-2 in this second series.
It's very possible. It's like that's. I think that is their only way to win this series is winning two S&Ds, but they got to get it there. And unfortunately, I don't think they got the dogs on the field. I don't think they got it in them.
Yeah, I mean it'll be interesting to see if how VJs and Carnivorous perform behind Bracky and Novo in a second matchup. I've seen Ghostly Royale playing in some eights lately since that first match of his, so I want to see maybe if there was any sort of improvement there. Maybe a couple extra kills could kind of help Flicks uh, do a little bit more as the leading presence on that team. And I don't know. I think it could get interesting. Maybe they take an Eslo there, or maybe
I'd be
they
fine with that. I would love that.
they
Would
run
be
away
that would be
run
great
away with a hard
television to
point
watch.
depending on the map.
Absolutely, they could. It's possible with Carson. I mean, he's a top player in the league, so I want to put it behind Carson to be able to steal an HP by himself. It's just I find it very highly unlikely. But
Yeah.
I'm down for it. I'm down to watch the CEO Novo lose. I'm always down for that.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, Smiles, for coming on and doing this podcast with me tonight. We're going to be doing it weekly going forward here for the year, so excited to have this time to talk about the league and shout out chat. Shout out our sponsors, G Fuel. Use code Family
The family.
Ties. Yeah, use
Yeah,
code
with family
Family.
ties.
Family
Family
Ties.
ties, I believe. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
And then a shout out to Velocity Esports as well, our one of our big partners out there. And
Absolutely. We love velocity.
yes, we do. Well, all right. Thanks everybody for coming out to this first episode of the Standing on Business podcast, and we will see you in about
Yeah. Make sure
20 minutes for the matches.
Yeah, turn on the stream when a match is played. 7:30 Eastern. Be there or be square.
Yeah, 100%.
Bye.
See ya.